Cisco FTD installation process and its integration with Cisco FMC for centralized management is the topic of this section. We will install Virtual FTD and Virtual FMC with importing the OVF version of these softwares. Then we will integrate FTD and FMC with each other so that we can manage FTD centrally and via centralized FMC manager. This is the minimal topology that we will implement in this course. Cisco FTD is connected to both internet and LAN network to inspect traffic between these two zones. FMC and FTD are connected to each other through out-of-band management network. Management network has the IP address range 192.168.200/24, 192.168.200 is the IP address of FMC, and 101 is the IP address of FTD. What we will implement in this section is to configure FTD and FMC to connect to each other through out-of-band management network. The other FTD interfaces will be configured in the next few videos. To start configuring, I import OVF version of FTD and FMC in ES6 server, deploy OVF template. I'm using the version 7.0.1, which is currently the latest recommended version of FTD and also FMC in Cisco website. There is nothing important to explain how to import FTD and FMC OVF in ES6 server, FTD 1. The only point that I would like to mention is that FMC has only one network adapter, which is used for management, and it is connected to out-of-band management network. But FTD, as you can see, has many network adapters. The first adapter is the management adapter, so it is connected to out-of-band management network. The second adapter is optional diagnostic interface, and it can be used for SNMP and syslog monitoring and cannot be used for data traffic. From the third interface, starting with Giga Ethernet 00, it can be used for data traffic. And then next, we have to use the correct port group here, what I've already selected in my other FTD that I've already imported because it takes time to be imported. And then next, and then power on after deployment. I cancel importing OVF version. When FTD OVF is fully loaded, username and password are the first prompt that you can see. FTD and also FMC default username and password is admin123, but with the first capital A, admin123. Then the license must be accepted. Then a new password must be configured. Do you want to configure IPv4? Yes. IPv6? No. Manual IP configuration. For FTD, I've considered 192.161, 200, 101. Subnet mask /24, gateway 192.168.201, and the name of the host FTD Virtual, the list of DNS server 192.168.1.220.888, and then 4224. Then a list of domain name roika-co.local. Manage the device locally. Please set it to no, which means it will be configured through central FMC manager, not local FTD device manager. Configure firewall mode. We will talk about the difference between transparent and routed mode in a specific video, but for the beginning we will start with the routed default mode. This means that the FTD is a part of our routing infrastructure and must take part in our routing topology. With show firewall command, you can check if your firewall is in transparent or routed mode. Also, we can change the firewall mode. We will discuss it in a specific video. With command show managers, we can check it if FTD is connected to any FMC manager. Of course, at first there is no FMC configured. With command configure manager, add 192.168.200.100, for example, Roika. We can add FMC manager in FTD. Later, we have to also add FTD in FMC manager. Roika is here the key to secure the connectivity. Again, we show managers. We can check the status of connecting FTD to FMC. Current state is pending until we add also FTD in FMC manager. Now is the time to install FMC. Now we start configuring FMC with importing FMC OVF. I'm using the version 7.0.1 ES6i. FMC1, for example. Scene provisioning. As I've said already, FMC has got only one interface, which is used for management, and it's normally connected to out-of-band management network to be connected to all FTD active in our network infrastructure. And the next, and power on after deployment. I will cancel it since I've already imported other FMC, since it takes time to be imported. FMC, open console. When FMC OVF is fully loaded, username and password are the first prompt that you can see. FTD and FMC default username and password are admin and then admin123 with the first capital A. Then the license must be accepted. Then a new password must be configured. FMC name, FMC, the IP address configured manually or DHCP. Default is DHCP. I will change it to manual. The IP address 192.168.200.100. Subnet mask is 24, 192.168.201 as a gateway. And the list of DNS server 192.168.1.240. 8888 and 4224, and the list of NTP default is okay. And this is our final configuration. Are these settings correct? Yes. Then we are allowed to connect to FMC through web interface with username and password that we have already configured. 192.168.200.100 is the IP address of FMC. I've already set username and password, admin, and my new password. In the first page, we enable 90-day evaluation license and then save. Then we need to add FTD in FMC through device menu, add device. When we add FTD, we need to select some options in addition to FTD IP address, which is 192.168.200.101, and the registration key is RICA. This is our access control policy. It means what we prefer as our default policy in FTD. Block everything, permit everything and only prevent intrusions, or discover network traffic. I will choose the second option. That means everything is permitted except intrusions until I start configuring the firewall. Then default IPS, and then save. Default IPS. We also have the options to enable other licensing, including malware protection, IPS, and URL filtering. In a specific video, we will talk about different FTD licenses. Now we can save our default policy to add FTD in FMC. Now that FTD is added in FMC Manager, we can also check in FTD with command show managers to make sure that the both sites are connected to each other correctly. So 192.168.200.101, and then show managers. As you can see, now the state is changed from pending to completed. So the both direction are registered to each other, FTD and FMC. So FTD in continue can be managed through FMC GUI interface.